officer at the UCPR based at Univac. Thank you.
Good morning, colleagues. I'm Promise Nyalungu. I am the marketing officer at the Univac Center for Entrepreneurship.
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Mulu Gado. I am also from Univac.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Prudence Linda from MSI.
Hi, everyone. This is Matano from MSI.
I'm Prince Ngozi. I represent Bumalanga Stainless Initiative.
I'm Kodina Lishara, also from Bumalanga Stainless Initiative in Univac. I'm a business developer.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Namuga Somayo. I'm from the Security College Center for Entrepreneurship. I serve as a secretary.
My name is Kalano Godfrey. I'm the technical officer at Security College Center for Entrepreneurship.
My name is Mata Pedro Mudau. I'm the Business Development Officer at the
Good morning, colleagues. My name is Mahawali Mohali from the West of Africa Digital Hub. Cost research administrator. Good morning, colleagues. My name is Grace Bambisa and I'm the entrepreneurship trainer.
At the back.
I was selected Economic Exhibition Officer at the Digital Hub.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Gogenzo Mahatela. I'm administrator at the UL Digital Hub.
My name is Susuke Makole. I'm the Business Development Program Coordinator under the University of Uganda. Welcome. So we can start. I will hand over to Seth. So we can start. So we're taking over. One thing maybe I want to ask, can we all see? Is it clear? Can you all see the screen? You can challenge. Okay, good. You don't have to change your projector, right? Fine.
Okay, good morning, colleagues. My name is William. Employed by SETFA, the National Office, under the new Business Information. I will be the facilitator for the day to take you through the Ethuse platform. And I'm sure colleagues will be engaging with that. So from now on, you know the face, the name. You might not know me, but you know her more than you know me. So I'm the one who will be taking you through the system. Let's have an interactive session. We are here to capacitate and also assist you guys in this new financial year that is starting. That's essentially already highlighted the KPIs that you guys will be reporting on. So I'm here to assist and clarify where this information is captured and where will be reported and how the center managers, if they're here, how are they ultimately going to be reporting going forward. So that's the purpose of us being here. And also we believe there might be some questions that you guys have, clarity that you require regarding the system. So we are here to assist the best way that we can. If there's other questions that you guys have and you can't answer, that relates to the information and my colleagues are here, they will answer those questions. We are here to build on system questions and functionality. That's where I think we can best assist. Anything outside of that will refer to our colleagues in the incubation program. But fortunately for us, we are aware of your KPIs because we must ensure that they incorporated into the system. So we are aware of that, and we also assist in ensuring that you know which information to go away and how ultimately all ties together. For us to be able to report as an organization, not as incubation, as an organization. I'll also highlight some of the means of verification that must go into the system that are very important for us as an organization, not just audit queries, and to avoid a situation where you guys are called and there's information that is required, documentation and all that. So we try to ensure that we empower you and share all the information that you need to be able to perform, without any glitches, and also to report without any back and forth between you guys and project specialists and their managers respectively. So that's the purpose of that here. Your KPI is highlighted. It's the one that was before that were there last year. And the new one. The new one, myself and Hilda, we just got the information day before it was. So we not privy to this afterwards. But it's not a trick yet. We'll find a way of how we can ensure that you guys report on it because it's a new one, as I can say. But the others are as is, as you know, the jobs take over. And SMEs who have been assisted through the incubation program. So those ones are standard, as you've been in the public study. I'll touch on it, on all for the new one, and we still have to sit down with our team and see how we best ensure that you guys are able to report on it. Because it's not yet clear how on the system will configure. That is something that we ensure that it's configured and that information is shared with you guys going forward. That's number one. Number two, in terms of number of users that you can have as a center on the system, there's no limitation. There's no limitation in terms of number of users that can have access to the system in the center. As long as the request that will come is clear in terms of who is doing what and who is doing what, so that we give the right permission to those who are doing. So if a program like the university, they have a program where they intend and come and assist in the center, whether it's handling with other things and interacting with the system. There is that capability to allow them to access the system. If it's a center, that is working with the university or interns that come to learn and to support you guys. There's no limitation in terms of the number of users that can access the system. So whenever people come and they report by the center, please do let us know so that we can onboard them on the system and they can access. As long as we're utilizing the system for check-time, please do let us know so that we can ensure that they are providing access to the system. Secondly, or thirdly, last year, as the assembly has already highlighted, you guys were thrown into the deep end. And it was not by us, it was by management, the top, that through this suddenly they had to come to us, and then we must now collaborate and ensure that you guys have access and you can catch. We understand, we take note of people's inability to grant information at that point in time. And there was a lot of requests that were made to say, can we have manual, can we have videos and so on. So we work on that as a team, and we ensure that now there's access to videos that colleagues can go through at their own given time. So we don't have to wait for the next training. You just simply go to those videos to refresh your memory. And when there's an update on videos, we publish them on the platform that I'll show you now, where you can go and check the latest updates. But when updates are done, communication will be sent from us to the project specialists, and then they are in touch with you guys at the ground level, so we'll be able to share that information. So that's the third thing that I wanted to bring to your attention before we get into the business of the day. So, if you've logged in recently, I'm going to sign in now. There should be and I would like colleagues to check if you can. What I'm about to show you. If you're logged in, there should be the Ethuse training module available for you. If you're logged in, visit there should be that module available for you. So,
so let me say, can we just get assistance with the Wi-Fi? So that
you will assist the colleagues here. So, you should see it. Okay. If you don't have access to it, please do let us know. Hilda is here. You can just get it sorted quickly. And you click on it. Let me just zoom in a bit. So these are all the videos that are here, cover all the modules that we have on the system. Okay. From the client management to the business advisory to the assessment, intervention, event, and ultimately branch reporting. Centers will be done in the branch, so center managers, if you want to learn more about your reporting capability and functionality, you can go to the videos. But it's not only center managers that can go, even colleagues. If the center manager is not available and you are asked to do a report, you can go here and have a look on how reporting is done, and then obviously at provincial level and at national level. So this is the videos that are there. At your own time, you can go through them, pause, continue, and you'll be well equipped in terms of understanding the system. The videos go in depth on top of what I'm going to focus on today. So I'm going to focus on key things, but on the videos, it goes even further in some of the nice features that are, or functionalities that are embedded in each and every module. But my focus, or our primary focus for today, is to ensure that you guys know where the process starts and how the information flows up until reporting. That's the core of my presentation for the day. It's going to be, I want us to have an interactive session. I don't like the sound of my own voice. Unlike other people, you must understand which they love the sound of their own voice, which I'm not that kind of a person. So let's have an interactive session. Questions are more than welcome. So we will break at 11:30 for tea break, and then we'll come back again, push until 1 o'clock for lunch break, 45 minutes, and then come back after lunch, and then close off the day. Hopefully by then would have covered everything that I want us to cover. But so far we've managed to cover, the session that we conducted, we've managed to cover, all the things that we sought out to focus on in our session. So these videos, I'm not going to go to them. Any more time to go through them, as long as you have internet connection. Okay. Fortunately, our website is not zero rated, so you must have some data. Or if you have fiber, you must utilize those platforms to connect and have access to the video. Have all the colleagues at the centers that you logged in, those who have been granted login details? You managed to log in before? Yes. Nobody here was never logged in. Struggled to log in. They were blocked by the systems.
I think the challenge from our side is that when we use our internal internet, it doesn't open Ethuse. We have to connect to the.
So it means you're blocked. It was unfortunate. There was, I think, security colleagues must just
so we must
take the link and put it somewhere under the safe links that are accessible to. Yeah, you must go to IT. Because even with us, there's certain sites that are blocked. You must just go to IT and say, unblock so that you can access. So please go to it. Because why use this connectivity?
Okay. The only challenge I had was logging in is when I tried to log on into another PC. I'll try and say forget password, still I would get access. So every time I try and log in with the link that was sent, the initial link that was sent the first time. So I don't even know the password. If I forgot password, it doesn't allow me. So that's the challenge I had.
Okay. Just liaise with users so that we can maybe reset your password so that we can be able to use multiple devices. Because even on your phone, you can still use, there's no limitation in terms of each device, but if you're only restricted to one device, then it hampers your ability to work. Okay. Listen.
Yeah, for me, I never had login details because I'm new.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your center manager.
No, she's not yet.
She's not yet. So the process is your center manager should send your details to Hilda, copy the project specialist.
Okay.
And then from there on, Hilda will show that he gave you on the way. So that is the process. So even if you do it now, before we leave, it should be granted. Because your center already exists on the platform. It's just a matter of process. Okay, colleagues. So the sign-in is when you, as the BDO, the admin, or the center manager, will then log into the system. So you utilize the sign-in. The register, I'm going to use the university as an example. If there's entrepreneurs within the university, you can send them the link and then they register themselves. But that's not the complete registration. Remember, there's process that you guys have as respective centers that one must go through before we can now sign a contract and start working with you and coaching you and report on you. The register is more like you're collecting high-level information without they log in, they register themselves. From there on, you will have a view of all the online, the physical and online registration. And then from there, if it's an online one, you can contact that individual and then start engaging with them. And then obviously the process will be initiated from there. That is how, whether it's a center or it's a branch, that is how clients are utilizing the register. It's those that are tech savvy, they want to be supported sitting somewhere in their offices, they don't want to come to your premises. They use the register, but obviously with that, engaging with them, you have to be initiated by the center or by the branch. So that is the registration. But remember, this is high level registration. It's not the complete registration where you contact them and we have, a roadmap, developed for the. So this is not the part. We'll get into that part as we continue the session. So this is just collecting high level information. If I click on it, see, it's just high level information that is required here. And when it says province, obviously they will select the province whether it's Mpumalanga or it's Limpopo or Gauteng. And then from there on, it will display, once I select the province, it will display the branches that are under. This was a little bit other things, but so already by default, the nearest branch would be what? Moho would be nearest to Pulpon, the Cape Town branch. But for you guys, it gives them, for the users out there, it gives them the opportunity to select in the center. On the line, this is the test environment because apologies for the clarifying from the this is the test environment that I'm utilizing. On the live environment, it was indicating which is your nearest branch or incubation center. So hopefully it has been configured like I'm saying on the line. It's not giving me that option. But I believe it should be given that our investigate why it's not bringing up centers where we go from. But so that is how it works, where you select your area and then it will tell you where is the nearest branch or what is the nearest branch of the center. If you are one of those online sites that you come in. So once I've registered myself there, if I log in as the admin in the center or as the people, So once you log in and want to view all the people that have registered online, you will obviously go to the client management, and then on the client management, you should be in a position where you see the new inquiry and the people who have been accepted for services. So if that person is registered online, you will see them under the name as a person who is registered online. And then even the people that walk in and you are creating them as an inquiry, you're already under the name until you have accepted them for services and you want to continue with the registration. To view the online, and that's the physical, you can say group 5. Use your time, apply. You see, it will bring, if there was an online platform, and that was based online, you will see them on a different column that will say online. So the physical is the walking, people that you captured, in the respective offices, and the online one will see them there. So if you want to see and have a view of that, you have to go to group 1 and then select type and then apply. Then you will just group them according to what you want to see. Online, the walk-ins. So this is how you can see the difference between the online and the register at your respective offices. So anybody who's not accepted for services will remain under me for the longest time. So it means that that person maybe you are not yet done with your own assessment and other activities that you do on a day-to-day basis. Don't remain under me. The accepted for services, it's those that you register and you sign a contract and so on. So they will appear under accepted for services. But there's one feature that we added for centers. Centers only, not for branches, is the admin client actually at the top. Last year, you guys struggled across the network. All centers struggled. When a client that was registered at a branch now comes to your center, and obviously they fit or they meet the criteria for you to onboard them and start working with them. So you struggle where you are trying to capture them, enter their ID, it says ID already exists, and you don't know where they are. So we saw that, as I said, you guys, it was a quick and a rush job to onboard you guys. Certain things were overlooked. So we had to be proactive as a team. So we said because centers work with clients that come from branches in some cases, or centers might have somebody who was registered, sometime back and they no longer go to the branch or they refer from the branch to the center. How do you accommodate such a situation for centers? So what we did was, let's give all centers access to the entire CENFA database to view, and once you have a review of that particular record, you can start throwing them over to your side and start working and doing whatever that needs to be done from your end. It means we're eliminating that registration process, because you might find that person is already within the database and their information is completed. It's just a matter of you attaching the contract that you sign with them, and then you start working with them going forward. So we gave all the colleagues and centers this admin button feature. If I click on it, you see, even if you click on it on your own account, you see it will give you a total number of, I think on the live environment should be 112, you know, number of people who have been captured on the system. Then from there, it's for you to search on that list. Okay, you can search using their ID or you can search using their name. Okay, so that is the feature. Then from there, you don't have to reinvent the wheel and start the registration. You just simply attach the contract. Once the contract is attached, that person is now flowed into your center. And now you can report on them and start working with them moving forward. Just gonna use practically show you. If you see a duplication of the IDP, you won't be allowed. It's just a check. We relax the rules here. Unlike the live registration. So I'm gonna search using this ID. Search with ID number. And you see ideally will be one record. Okay? But here, because I said we let the rules available, there's two records that will pick up. That will be picked up by the system. So this is what you get. If you put in the ID and you search, if that person exists within our database, they will appear here. So you don't have to now start the registration process. It's a matter of attaching the contract. So how you go about doing that? And you attach the contract, you also verify. There's two things. You verify if the information that is here is as they've given you, to engagement with them. If not, then you can make those changes. You are allowed to make changes. Okay. But it should be changes that are clear and that information is provided to you. Right? So let's do practically. I'm going to click on my speaker here. Okay, this is the client that we expect to the Google. They move from the college over to the University of Togo, and they still want to be within the program. They still want to be within the program, and they still require something. So what you search for them like I did, once you've located them, and now in a position where edit the information if you need to edit the information, and view certain documents that you want to verify. Okay. For example, the copy of the ID should be attached here. And for you to see that the copy is attached, you see there will be a download option. So it means you are in a position where you can download that copy and verify to the copy that is given to you by the That's number one. And obviously, if they change their location and all that, you make those changes here on the system. That's number one. Number two, you see on the profile, this is the contact person, the main contact person. Then if you look on the far right, there's a company tag there. So if you click on the company tab, it will give you just a view of the company that is linked to this. From there on, it's just for you to verify if the company that is here is the same company that they presented that documents to you. If it's not, you then create a new company. If it is, what you do, click on the company information, have a view of if there's a contract already, okay, from the previous center, then you should have a view of that contract. But if they're coming from the branches there's no contract. So that field won't be anything on that particular field of information contract. And then that's where you come in as the center and attach that contract so that you are able to report on it. If you don't attach the contract, it means they will be reported under the KPI that you guys have. So ensure that if the client already exists and you want, you've contracted them and you start working with them, follow the steps that I'm just showing now. Attach the contract, and then that person will, under that client or small enterprises assisted through the incubation program. So here the trigger is the contract. If there's no contract, then you are, disadvantaged when it comes to reporting on that KPI. So the most important thing is that because anything that you do, whether it's mentorship, coaching, training that you do under that particular individual, won't be reported because of the missing contract. You do all the activities, but you might find your numbers are not adding up because of what? The contract. Always ensure once you've completed the registration, there's a contract. Fortunately, on this current financial year, contracts for centers are mandated, so you cannot say a registration because there's no contract that has been attached. Particularly for new incubatees that are coming into the program. For the existing ones, okay? For the existing ones, if you are signing an extension to the contract that has been about to expire, you must come in, remove the old, attach the new. Once it has expired, don't attach to new. Okay? Because that person will be reported twice in one financial year. We don't want that. So you wait for the contract to end, remove the old one, attach the new one, then that person will be reported again for this financial year. So that's the exercise that you have to do. But fortunately, when you do a new registration altogether, there's no way you can say it without attaching a contract. Particularly for those that you are contracting, there's no way you can proceed without attaching the contract. That's the first MOV that is key for Brasanji and his team for them to be able to report accordingly. That's the first one. Still on the contract, there's been instances where there's a contract there, you can see, but there's no signature. It's not dated, And that's an audit query. It looks like, as an organization, we're just simply attaching, contracts that don't have, people that would have said, this is my contract, and I acknowledged, that this is my contract. So ensure that on a contract, if there's witnesses and all pages must be initialed, you follow that process. Because auditors pick up silly things, and now it becomes an audit query, and even the penalties, the agency, there's penalties that the center will have to give it. Even the project specialist and the incubation manager, penalties, that will come. So ensure that all contracts dated, signed, initial, all parties that have signed the initial. The specialists and their managers won't have any issues. And the incubation center manager as well won't call to say, hey, why is your contract not having all the signatories on it? So that is the most important document going forward in this financial year. So this is a personal obligation. If they're coming from the branch, there's no contract, you simply attach. Good to go. Remember, that person, once you attach the contract, they won't be reported at the branch. They will be reported in the center. Each and every activity that happens in the center will be reported in the center. It won't be visible in the technical branch or the November branch, or the Wadi branch. That won't happen. They will only appear within your respective center the minute you attach the contract. You can still view historic activities like that. You can still view there's under this particular client, and there's also two interventions that were done. So you still have a view, a history of what has been happening. You can view, you cannot edit, and then you can take that information and see what needs to be implemented. So people can move around, but the history of them moves with them, so that The next person who works with that particular individual or company has a view of what has been happening, since this person has been, onboarded into our system. So this is how police will go about, viewing a client that already exists within the database. So any person that will walk into a center, before you start capturing them as an inquiry, start here, search using their ID to check if they exist. If they do exist, then you eliminated all the other people that you guys have to go through. You see the attach the contract, and then you move over to the next phase of your support and business development. But if they don't exist within the database after you search for them, it takes us back to the inquiry. Here, you're going to first log them as an inquiry whilst you're still busy engaging with them, and then complete the process. This is where those people that don't exist, even at branches, if they don't exist, this is where they start. Okay? You come in, then we're going to capture you as an inquiry. This can be done by, if you have permissions, admin, intern, BO, okay? Even the manager, center manager, like we tend to say the center manager should know the capture and focusing on approvals. So these three colleagues can create an inquiry and complete the onboarding of any PhD within the executive center. So click on inquiry. Here only mandatory information is required. And here, remember, some people who come in, they still have, they don't know how you can assist them. So you capture that information, then you start engaging with them until you are certain that, okay, this is what they need. This is the kind of support or the program to develop them. This is the program that will be followed for them to be part of our center and help them grow. So here we still at the idea stage. For some are already established, but either or, we are going through this process. But that's collecting high level information. Even if they don't have a business name, you can simply say they don't register. Okay? Meaning they are not yet formed. You don't have to, leave this field blank. Mobile numbers, I know people are very skeptical about them. One of them. Go somewhere with one by number or change numbers. Unless you are a colleague or a friend, my correct details. I know all of us even have done this before. So please ensure that here you capture the right contact numbers, because when the portfolio committee and the ministry as a whole, they want to verify, if we supported freedom. We want to get hold of freedom using the mobile or the email. So this, information becomes critical for us as an organization, because our minister and CEO, they get the state the committee. And if you're watching Parliament, young people are at the forefront and they ask those questions because they think some people are looking numbers and all that. So it's important that we provide the right information, or you ask them to give you the right detail, so that we can publicize this information with tenant and cookers. It's for us, for coaching and for verification, purposes that we need the right numbers. So ensure that they give you the right contact details. The right email, again. Still on the email. Colleagues, do not use your center email address if they don't make it. Do not use your or your own personal email address. Do not use that. If you guys have a domain and you're using the center's email address to access Ethuse and to do other business, do not use it, because if you use the center's email and you want to log in immediately after, the system thinks that you're using the client profile. So you are the client, so we restrict you from logging in because you are using your email and your password, which is unique. It thinks that this is the client's profile, therefore it won't allow you to log in. So avoid using your emails to assist clients. Rather, assist them with getting a Gmail account and then you put in that Gmail account here. An ID number, also have a passport field. Okay. I'm not sure if you have students that are foreign nationals that you work with. Passports are permitted. Okay. So you can go assist in the clients that have a passport. Obviously, they must give you a copy of the passport. Remember where I showed you there's an ID attachment. Then, if it's a passport, you attach the passport copy. Still important, you won't be any inquiries regarding that. Because we understand there are people who are here legally that are doing business within the borders of our country. So, so the ID doesn't exist, as you can see. If it existed, there was going to be a pop-up that says ID already exists. And we should do stability in the address. Okay, in your case, you don't have to select the province, it will be defaulted because your centers are going to group within various provinces. Because I'm using our test environment, I'm selecting as an area. Already, by default, it says your work home is township. That is the classification that the organization worked on, and this is how the organization has classified certain areas. It was not done by us. It was information we got from the movement to put into the system. But we do understand that there's areas that might be classified as township, but you know them as rural. So if there's such areas and you're struggling because you can't capture, you can't really put pinpoint and put the correct location of that particular incubation. If you have such areas, send them to him so that we can amend the listing that we have, and present it to management so that we incorporate those areas within our database. So that is the request that we have from us to you guys to say if there's areas that should be classified as rural, but it's same township here or does not exist there at all. Okay, please flag those areas so that we add them and then you don't struggle. You don't put somebody who's supposed to be in home. So to avoid that, we rely on such feedback from business and other stakeholders that we work with. But if there's no issues, by virtue of putting the area, it tells you the geolocation and then products and services. Okay. So those kinds of it's better to use the export.
you use the export readiness assessment. That one is specific. You know, if you want to export, especially internationally, that is the tool that you should be looking into utilizing, for such SMMEs that you are working with. But for now, let's take gap analysis. Gap analysis to open the assessment for us to be able to capture. Click on the bottom left corner there, and then you should be good to go. If I click anywhere else, it's going to redirect me elsewhere. So it's important that you click on the bottom left corner. As you can see there, my cursor is pointing there. The minute I click on it, this is what should be available for colleagues. Project specialist, they don't have the take. Center managers, they don't have the take and they assign, they can view results. But for BDOs, admins and interns that have been granted the rights to capture, you should see the assign and the take and the result tab. Okay, that you should see. The result will only be visible from your end if there are assessments that have been conducted by the center. If there's an assessment, particularly on this tool, that has been captured at the center level, that's where you'll see the results. But if there's no assessment, you won't see the results button. You would only see the assign and the take one. Okay, so if you have access to assessment and you don't see the take and the assign buttons, please do let us know so that we can reconfigure your permissions. Okay, because this helps in you having the ability to capture these assessments on the system. Assigning works in this manner. Okay, you have a client that is, does not come to your premises as often as you like. They have their own premises somewhere, and it's costly for you to do the back and forth, or it's costly for them to come to your premises, to conduct this. So you can assign this assessment to them. They capture or they answer all the questions that are on the template, and then they submit back to you. You review. If you need to ask them more questions based on their answers, you can ask more, and then you complete the exercise, and then you go to the next phase of submitting to the manager for review and for approval. That is the assign. The take is a function that you can utilize when you're sitting with the incubatee in your premises. You're sitting with them in the boardroom or in your office. Then you're going through these questions with them as they're sitting there, and then you are capturing the answers. That's the take. Assigning is for those that you feel they can answer by themselves, and then it's for you to review and see how you can revise some of their answers. Okay, so to assign, you click on assign. It'll ask you who's the recipient that you're looking for. Okay, so if it's the client that we captured now, there we go. And then the company that is linked to this individual is this one. If they owned more than one company, here on the drop down, it was going to say which one are you assessing. Okay, but because it's only one company that belongs to this one, you'll see there isn't the drop down functionality available for me. So I want this particular client to do a gap analysis all by themselves. Okay, where here on the body or the contents of the email, you can remove this and put in your own. And then on the live environment, you see there will be a deadline, okay, option. By when do you want this to be completed? It's there on the live environment where you give them a deadline. By this time, they should have completed this, particular exercise. And then attachments. If you have templates of contracts, that you guys are utilizing that they need to complete, like employment contracts, okay, employee contracts. You can attach that template to say, as you're completing this particular assessment, please also complete this attachments where you are collecting the employees. Okay, if you have those templates within your respective centers. If not, you're simply gonna click on send. Okay, then the email will go to the client. They will then have to access via email and complete this particular assessment and send it back to you. Okay, that's the take. Hence the importance of the email. Okay, if you are going to utilize this capability, the email address becomes a key factor. Okay, that is one way of conducting an assessment. Then the traditional way would be the take. With the take, they're sitting with you. You're going to click on take. Then there should be, a tab that opens and says start assessment. Okay. Click on start assessment, and then based on the template that you selected, it will display the questions that should be answered. Okay. Okay, let's say the predetermined program or intervention would be training based on how you have been engaging with them. Then experience. Okay. This is the information that they'll give you, colleagues. As a practitioner, you're not gonna samsak this information. They must give you this information. Okay, continue. Okay, on other comments, here you can just put in additional information that they might be disclosing there and then. Remember, here is just predetermined questions that you are answering. But when it comes to other comments, you might, gather more information from them based on their company operations and so on. So this is where you can put in other comments. Or on other comments, you might highlight, some of the things you are picking up, for if you are not present, when this client is going forward, somebody who steps in and takes over from you, they are privy to that information. So this is where you can, put in as much information as you can. Maybe you said they need mentorship, skills. Okay, they need marketing or market research. So So this could be additional comments. And then the minute you click on submit, it does not go to the manager to approve, okay? There's a second step to this. So it does not automatically go to the manager to approve. So when I click on submit, it should say thank you. Then it means I must just go to the second phase of this workflow. Okay, thank you. You should get thank you once you're done. And if you go back to the tab before I refresh, when I opened this tab, it was reflecting number of assessments that have been captured. It's 8. Okay, whether it's approved or not approved, it's 8. Gap analysis within my center, not nationally. Within your center, there's 8. You know, if I refresh this one, there should be 9 reflecting. Okay, there's 9, meaning the one that I just submitted, it's now there. Okay, to access that particular assessment, I can click on participants there at the top, but there it will give you all the assessments, regardless whether it's gap analysis, it's what, it will give you just a list of all. So to avoid confusion, click on where it says participants. And then, as you can see, there's other assessments that were done some time back, but the one that is top of the list is the one that I worked on not so long ago. So to complete the process, I'll click on the assessment, and then this is the page that should be presented before you, right? Here, if you assign this assessment to the client, yeah, you're gonna find it under participant. If you assign it to them, they conducted by themselves, you're still gonna find it there. You'll see if you assign it to them, it'll by default, they will have their client name there and the company. Okay, the rep and the company name will be pre-populated. Because I took it, I was sitting, it's me who opened this particular assessment, and I said take, it will say the rep is me, meaning I'm the creator of this particular record, but I need to fix all of that, you know, before I even submit to my manager to review and approve. Before you can do that, you still have the ability to amend answers, whether you were sitting with them or whether they submitted, you know, via their assign. You still have the ability where you can change your answers. So to do so, let's say here, I said no on this one, okay? If I made a mistake, I was supposed to say yes. I don't have to go and say take again and start the process, you know. I can simply click on the question, and then this is what will be presented before, and then you are in a position where you can say yes, okay, and save. That question will be amended, and the answer will also be amended from a no to a yes, okay. So you, before you even submit to the manager, you're still in a position where you can change your answers, right, as the practitioner. The minute you submit to the manager, the ability to change your answers, it's revoked, because the manager is now reviewing from their end. So ensure that if you assign to them and it comes back, you review. If you're not clear about something, call them or call them into your premises and are you sure this is the right answer? If yes, if no, you can correct. Yes, but if it's gone, you cannot edit. But the manager can reject for you to edit. Right. So let's assume all the questions, it's only that one that required my attention. Huh? Oh. Okay. So once you've done reviewing or the review of your question, common formation of employees. Oh, You must move closer.
The first question, I would like to ask a question. When I assign
To me.
to you, any other login details, which login details do you?
They must create their login details.
So they must register.
No, already they have a profile. It will say they must create their login details. Then they have access to complete the assessment. So in future, they don't have to be requested the login details. They'll simply log in and take. If they don't have, if they have, they'll simply log in. Like if I registered myself. Remember when I started, I said, if I registered myself, it would then give me a username and password. But if I didn't register myself, you registered me, but you assign an assessment to me, it will say, create your own login as a client, not as you, as the BDO or the admin. It's saying to the client, you are in a position where information might be sent to you for you to complete. So create a login detail for you. Your email is there, but create your own password. So that in future, there's no, loop that never ends where we create your username and password over and over again.
Right, thank you. And then my second question would be, are we restricted in terms of using assessment tools?
Restricted?
Yeah, like if this quarter, for example, I choose the SBAT, and then the next quarter I use the gap analysis.
No. You are only restricted when on repeat. The same assessment twice, that's where the restriction comes in. If you use gap this quarter, and then next quarter you use ACO, there's no restriction. Because the gap might be focused on a certain aspect of the business, the ACO looks at a different one, so you're not restricted. The only issue would be you're doing a gap again. In the second semester, while you did a gap in the first semester, what's missing? So that's where the restriction comes in.
Okay, thank you. Then my last question, right? With the SBAT, for example, let's say I have a business and I don't have employees, and the section of human resources where you have to answer questions based on the services or like employees, what do you answer? Do you just say never? Or to answer only?
You see, I'm not an expert. So, hence I said, this can be clearly explained by the custodians. We'll find out for you. But I think what's best is for colleagues who utilize these tools to be, Yeah, so we'll talk to our colleagues, project specialists, to organize these sessions. Yeah, because I can only say much in terms of the in-depth. It's them that would have more information. Yes, ma'am.
Just a follow-up from my question in terms of the restrictions of assessment. Take a client has relocated and is already on the system and maybe has got a chain of assessment that has been conducted. Does it restrict me from doing the same assessment, or is it attached to
a client? It's attached to the client, don't you?
So if
restrictions are
if in the other branch when the being assistant ACO was conducted, does it mean I cannot do an ACO?
Yes, yeah.
No.
It's a bone of contention, because the point that you're raising is what practitioners, hard, stone practitioners, they are querying to say, William can assess a client, William leaves. Okay, I come in, I want to utilize the same, but there might be something that William did not pick up that I want to pick up. So it's at head office, they are fighting there over there.
Also that, for instance, I've got a client who was in Cape Town, it is relocated.
Different dynamics.
There's a chain of assessment that we conducted. Now, I can't view the assessment, so I can't even check if whether I agree with the recommendations that
Or not,
were given.
yeah.
And the environment has changed.
Exactly.
It's now operating in a completely different environment.
Yeah. So it's those, would say those points that are brought to the attention of the decision makers. You know, like the point that you raised, I was operating in KZN. Now you go to vendor, you know, different dynamics altogether. You know, the same tool that was utilized by my colleague there, I can utilize it here, but the results might be different because the change of environment, you know, it has a huge influence. You know, like, you know, access to resources and stuff can change, you know, your recommendations, you know, in the area that they have relocated at. So it's one of those that came hard, mainly because of abuse. I think colleagues are suffering from people who are abusing certain tools, you know, for their own benefit. It could be managed better, but they didn't want to look at that. What they simply said, like, we cut 1 ACO per financial year. Whether you move or you don't move, tough. The good thing would be if they were assessed last financial year. You know, let's say they were assessed in December last year, and then you want to use the same tool now, you are good to go. The problem would be if it's still within the same financial year. That's where the struggle is.
Or maybe if you were able to view which assessment were conducted so that you are able to weigh which other options are still open.
Okay. Yeah. I will, I think yeah.
When she opens the company, she finds that three
But you can't view it. Yeah.
And it makes sense just to view and see the done ACO there. Okay, these are the recommendations. Then you do something.
But the biggest challenge is that what if those recommendations, she doesn't see them as, you know, fit for the business going forward, and she wants to use the same tool to gather new information. So that's the second, you know, to that viewing question. Okay. So confirmation of employment, colleagues, here the contracts must be attached. Okay. It's either you capture them here like I showed you earlier on. If it's a long list of them, this is optional. It's not mandatory. It's just optional. Statement of account, it's also optional, not mandatory. What would be important? Okay, it's the recommendation. From this assessment, what are you recommending? What are the plans of action, you know, based on what you have picked up during the assessment? Okay, let's same on the comments. We'll say they need training. Okay, and then market research. Okay, those are the recommendations. And then in most cases, you find your recommendations will also form part of your actions. Okay, on the actions, it's now being looked at, you know, with a magnifying glass, the actions. What auditors are now looking at is that you assessed William on a gap analysis. You ultimately going to do an intervention later on. That's the assumption. So they are saying, oh, the intervention that you are implementing or you have implemented, okay, must be linked to an assessment. Yes, there is an assessment. As part of your actions that you captured on the assessment, are they reflected on the type of intervention that you have implemented? So now actions become key going forward, colleagues. So whenever you're going to put your recommendations here and you say training and marketing, also put them here as your actions. If you put nothing here, okay, the chances are you won't put nothing because it's going to be mandatory. But if you put something that differs altogether to the intervention that you'll be implementing, it will be flagged and it won't be counted for. Okay, under BDS, Business Development Services, it won't be counted for because you said you're gonna do training for William, but the intervention is mentorship. So they are conflicting. So auditors will pick that up and say, They want to see an intervention that reflects the actions that were captured under the assessment. So that's what they want to see. Ensure that your recommendations, if it's training and mentorship, you also put them here. You can list as many as you want. There's no restrictions. But what they'll look at, the intervention that you're doing, part of the actions that you've identified is that intervention there. If you said marketing, there should be a marketing intervention. If you said training, that person, the training that you're doing, should be tied to that action. So that is something that strategy is quite hard on. It's not us, but it's our principals that are flagging this because they're also being looked at by auditors. So ensure that you capture the right actions that will be a true reflection of your interventions. So here I'm just going to capture the information that I did capture on my recommendation. Okay. Okay, anytime now. There we go. So I'll say training. The order does not matter. Responsible person, meaning the person who will be facilitating that, should be, the BDO or the admin. There might be somebody who's executing, the end result, but you are facilitating, you're ensuring that everything ties all together. People are in place, resources are in place. So I'll say, William, when are we planning to conduct this training? Okay, you'll say maybe, okay, today, and it's gonna end today. But nothing stops you from putting a future date. The status, it's new, it's a short term, okay? Sorry if I minimize, I couldn't see the calendar. Then the next line would be my market research intervention that I put there as part of my recommendations. Okay, whilst waiting for it to respond. So lastly, for centers and for branches as well, but other branches would capture the employees there and the income statement there. Okay, but what we've now enforced as per recommendation from audit is that each and every assessment must be accompanied by let me speak the center's language. The contracts of the employees and the statement of accounts. Okay. It doesn't have to be at the end of the quarter. The ones that they gave you when you started engaging with them, it's the one that you have to attach there. As long as they are a true reflection of the status quo. That's the information that we are looking at assessment. Improvement assessment will be looking for totally new figures altogether, right? So here you must ensure that you attach those contracts as long as they're still valid, and the statement of accounts that they provided you, when you started the onboarding process. So that is the information that should be accompanying this particular assessment. Then in terms of interventions or the action items, if one of your colleagues is going to be responsible for that, you can put their name. Nothing restricts you from doing so. So this will take place, let's say today as well, and end today. Okay, new, and it's also a short term. Okay, once you've added them, or two or more, you are in a position where you can go to your attachments And here we're looking again, the contracts, okay, individual contracts for employees and the statement of accounts. Okay, you must ensure they are there, colleagues. If they are not there, you won't be able to proceed. That is one control measure that we have put in. Okay. So I'm just going to attach 2 documents. Come on now. Okay. Okay, 2 have been attached. I'm happy with everything. Once you've attached, then it puts you in a position where you need to assign a client, meaning the individual or the company that you were assessing at that point in time. So you click on assign client. Search for that particular individual. If they have more than one company, the drop down will then give you, the second company. There's only one company here. Then from there, we'll click on proceed. Okay, once you click on proceed, you'll see the page has been updated now with the company and the rep. Okay. And then you see, because they fit within the TREP category, you'll see there's retail, there is Spaza. Then from this point on, you are in a position to say it's completed. Everything is completed. You review the questions, you are happy. Today is the actual submission date, yes. Proceed. And then you see the workflow will say manager review. So it means that's when now the center manager comes in. Okay. If the center manager does not approve, then you'll be under reporting on your BDS and number of people who are assisted through the incubation program. So the center manager becomes key after you've submitted this.
The manager for review and the manager able to
there's no timeline.
So at any time,
even if it's now. But what you should be mindful of, if you want to report it this court, it must be approved this court. Yes. If you want to report it the next quarter, then it's best that you capture it in the coming quarter. You don't want to have a pipeline that has a lot of things that won't be reported this quarter. Okay. But with assessments, because they're not they're not prolonged or they don't take forever like interventions, there I think it's monthly you can ensure that they are approved. Once you capture it, you can ask the manager to approve today, tomorrow, before the end of the month. Because if you create it now, you want to approve it next month, it will say the period is within the month that you created. Yes. Okay. Unlike projects take forever. You can create it now, but it's completed in December. So there's flexibility with project. With assessment, we feel like it can be done now. Everything can be completed now. So the month you created should be the month that the manager also approves it. Okay. So that is the gap analysis. All the other assessments follow the same process. Okay. The assigning, but for IAs do not assign colleagues. Rather, they come in, you sit with them, they give you the details and all that because you want to measure impact. So you don't want to leave it to them. You would rather sit with them and gather that information there and there. But any other assessment, except for CP and ACO, which are far more complex, any other, you can, do it by assigning or taking, and then you submit it for approval. So they're not as complex as as your gap and your business model canvas. Yes, ma'am.
You just said that all the other assessments were more likely the same way. For example, with ESBER, you have a section where you can just fill in the amount, right? So you still have to do a management account and attach it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes. Yes. Unless they change that, but unfortunately, yes, it is.
Where do we attach the management
On the SBED, once you have assigned it to, let me go back to my assessment. So once you have assigned it to a client, right? Ahmed. Come on. Okay. So management accounts, there's an attachment tab there. This is where you're gonna come and attach. Okay. And the contracts as well. On each and every assessment tab, you'll see there's an attachment option. This is where you attach.
I hear you, but isn't it like we're doing down to down? Because I mean, already there's a section where it says management account. Now we're still doing a physical management account and we have to.
It is, my fellow colleague. The issue here is they don't trust us. They don't trust us. That's why the management account should be signed and the contracts should be signed. So they don't trust us. Let's be honest, they don't trust us. You know? So they want signed, it should be signed. If there's no signature.
Then why can't you rather eliminate the other part?
Because that's the core of the assessment. So, yeah. We've automated the income statement here, but audit is still saying it should be assigned. So the signature plays a huge role. Without the signature, nothing is counted for. That's what we are, grappling with. So here, even the auditors, Brazandilo will tell you, auditors will look for signatures. Information can be there, you could have achieved all your targets, but if they pick up that there's no signatures, then that information is not a true reflection of our performance. So income statement or statement of accounts should be signed by the client. Contracts that the employees have should be signed. If there's no signature, there's a missing signature, it's not counted for. But if we're moving with the times, like a bank does not need your signature. They have your money, so they don't need your signature. You can do anything online. As long as you can approve and authorize, they take, those functionality, date, stamp time as, a signature. Within their policies, I'm sure they have updated their policies from then to now to say if there's a date, stamp time, and somebody clicked authorized by a button, it takes it as a signature. So we were once there, but we told to revert back to the old ways. Yeah. You have to stomach it for now. Maybe there will be a new leadership, and everything will change, like SARS, SARS, they're on top of their game. you do returns without a signature, and they take that. Even when AG audits them, they pass through, that because their policies are in line with the ever-changing world. So that is an assessment, colleagues. I'm gonna go to the manager and log in as the manager. And I'm gonna approve this particular assessment. So all center managers in the room, on top of the modules that I highlighted, for center managers there's the performance module, okay, which is not available for admins within the center. So there's the performance module, that's where you do all your reporting. We'll get into that later on. But for all center managers, any work that requires your approval, you simply go to that particular module, and then you should get a dashboard that gives you an overview of what's happening within your center. If you don't get this dashboard, please do let us know so that we can reconfigure and ensure that you can see. So this is the dashboard that I'm referring to. I'm sure all center managers have a view of this. Colleagues who are yet to see this side of the center manager, so this is what they will see. Then you'll see all the information that that is currently in progress within your respective centers. If you want to focus on a specific period, you are in a position where you can. So let's look at today's date. So we want to see how many assessments are submitted and require my action. Okay, you'll see there's only one assessment that has been submitted for manager review. If I click on that dashboard there, it should take me to that particular assessment. You'll see it's today's assessment, and it's a gap analysis that I just submitted there. If I click on it, I should open up the details, the contents of that particular assessment, and it's in a position where I can either reject or approve. Okay, so the manager can see even the questions, they can see there. Okay, so the manager can reject or approve, and they can also go and look at the recommendations and the actions and also the attachments, okay, that are there. They can download these, okay, and then do their own M&E. If they are happy with everything, simply approve, and then you'll see there will be a query button that will be activated now. So it's manager approved, as you can see there. Now there's a query button. The query, it's a button that is built in case the manager approved without doing any validation or verification. They were just in a hurry. The query gives the manager the now opportunity to say, no, let me go review. And if there's certain things that I'm not happy with, I can query this back to the capturer, and then the capturer will have to correct whatever corrections that I highlighted. So it's the second last day of the month. Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Please contact the system administrator for additional support.
Okay, it means that record was not approved in the month of which it was created. I don't know what record you are looking at, but when a record is created I'll use an assessment for an example. If there's an assessment that was created in May and was not approved in May, when you want to approve it now, it will say it has passed that reporting period. So therefore you archive and you ask the capturer to recapture and submit again so that you can approve it now. Because remember I said for assessment, assessments can be approved as and when they come in. With projects, they take longer, so we give you enough time to put your completion date. For assessment, the minute you submit, we view it as complete, so it should be approved within that particular month. So that's why you cannot approve that particular assessment. Because the month of which it was created in, it's not the month that you're approving it in. That's why you're getting that particular message. I hope I answered you clearly, ma'am.
Yes, I've answered yes or no.
Okay.
No, because
Hilda will come to you. Hilda will come to you now and clarify whilst you're still there. Okay. She will come to you and clarify. But colleagues, the rules are an assessment should be created this month and approved this month so that the manager does not get that error. If you create an assessment now and you submit it at the 11th hour, the manager is swamped and they see it the next month, they will get that error when they have to approve. So ensure that all your work, particularly assessment, all your work is approved within the month of which it was created. Okay. So managers, on a day-to-day, weekly, just go to your dashboards, view all your weekly, weekly activities and see which, assessment or interventions require your approval. Okay.
And what happens like if maybe, let's say it was done on the 30th, and then maybe it was Friday, and then the thing was the Monday, the penalty. Then I haven't seen that, or sometimes you find that you don't receive email. Most of the assessment oriented that happen, they come to my email and then I think those are the easy ones that goes, and then those are, that cannot go unnoticed. But if it is done on Friday and I have not noticed it, and then I see it on Monday, then what happened then? Because that period has passed.
I need for you to ask the BDO to recapture, because the system will say it's time for you to report. It's not time for you to approve.
So they need to be recaptured.
Yes.
The assessment.
Yes. So that you approve them in the new month. Yes. Yeah. So I think colleagues, for center managers and colleagues at large, give yourself or give your manager enough time, particularly as it's heading towards the end of the quarter. Give your manager enough time to go through the pipeline. The 11th hour, like you just, the example you just gave, it's the weekend. You have commitments over the weekend. And maybe the 31st is on a Sunday. But that Saturday you don't have time because you have other commitments. But if you didn't have commitments, you would simply sit down and approve. So let's be proactive in our work. What I normally advise centers and branches is that 2 days before, avoid submitting any work. Give the manager enough time to approve whatever that is in the pipeline, and center managers, you can have an operational plan to say, by this time, looking at the months, avoid submitting at this time of the month because I want to review and approve so that I'm able to submit a report. This month is ending when? On a Monday. So ensure, if I was a center manager, I would say, colleagues, by the 27th, let's ensure that all the submissions and the capturing is done, so that by the 30th, I'm in a position where I'm approving, and then on the 1st, I'm in a position where I'm doing my mandatory report. So that is what I would advise, colleagues on. Have a workaround strategy when it comes to the reporting deadline. Brasandile is managed by the reporting deadlines. He can fight as much as he wants. Unfortunately, his hands are tied, Even with me, I'm not a custodian of these dates. I simply ensure that they are there. If people are fighting, I redirect them to people they should be fighting with, because I'm just a messenger. You don't have to beat me. I'll redirect you to the owner of that message so that you can fight with them regarding the closing date. But I think what the incubation colleagues have raised is that there's the way centers operate, there should be flexibility that is taken into account. I think it's currently being looked at, because the universities, they close, and then you find that the report is due by the 3rd of January. Some people are hungover, at that time. Some people are still in the beach having a nice time. They don't have a time for laptop. So you guys are disadvantaged in in submitting your quarterly report. So those are being looked at to bring in flexibility when it comes to the incubation space, particularly when it has to deal with reporting and approvals. Okay, but the query, as I was concluding, the query, colleagues, comes into effect when the manager missed something. They're still within the month. They can query and say, so and so, please fix 1, 2, 3 and resubmit to me again. Let me show you, colleagues, how it works. So the manager approved. Tomorrow they realize, no, I made a mistake, man. Not all documents are attached. There's one document that is missing. As you can see, there's only 2. There's supposed to be 3 documents here, based on their knowledge. So they say, they go back to the system and then they query this particular assessment. When you are querying it, you must state the reasons why, okay? Manager picked up, there's 1 contract that is missing. Okay, you can see 1 contract missing. Please attach. Okay, and then you submit. Then, as you can see, the workflow goes back to completed. So it means as the capturer, the manager will inform me, I must go back to that particular record and ensure that I correct what needs to be corrected. Okay, so I'm going to log in as the admin. Okay, to view that particular record, I can simply go on assessments. Okay, then I can go to participants. Okay, they will be grouped there. All assessments within the incubation center, the new manager review, approved and in progress. So the one that I'm looking for should be under completed, because it was completed from my end. So I click there. There's the one that I'm looking at, the gap analysis. I click on it. Okay. It gives me an opportunity to edit. Okay, even answers that I might have completed wrong, it gives me an option to edit. So here, my primary focus would be, attachments. Okay, so if I click on edit there, scroll down, attachments, and the query is there. The reason for query, because I zoomed in, let me zoom out. The reason for query, you should see it being displayed there. Okay, you can have a look at it, and it says 1 contract missing, please attach. So that is the query that the manager is raising. So immediately before I even go anywhere, look at the query, and then action what is being asked for there. So okay, I forgot to attach something. Okay, I've attached there. From there on, I can save and then say it's completed. Okay, today's date. Okay, if it was tomorrow, you select tomorrow's date, as the date that you are saying it's completed, and then from there on, you are in a position to see that the workflow is then under manager review again. So the manager would have to log in. On the dashboard there, under assessment, that assessment should reappear. And then the manager can reject or approve. Okay, so let's approve. And then you'll see it says manager approved. The query is still there. Okay, it won't go away. It's still there. And then if we go back to the dashboard, there's nothing that the manager needs to look into. What we have now is manager approved assessment. Only one assessment, today. But if we go by the week, you'll see there's 3 assessments that the manager has approved, since the beginning of this week to date. So that is how you would, capture an assessment. Remember, each and every assessment must be accompanied by confirmation or contracts of employees and your statement of accounts. Okay. At branches, it's only confirmation of employees and the income statement. So that is the means of verification that must go hand in hand with an assessment for it to be counted for reporting purposes. They should be signed. If they're not signed, they won't be counted for. So to make the project specialist work easier and the center managers work easier, ensure that you attach all these documents and ensure that they are also signed before they are submitted. Okay. As long as it's within the month, if you uploaded a wrong one, you can still, ask the manager to query it and you upload the correct document. So there's still that flexibility if it's still within the month. But if it's outside that month, then you must go through other avenues to ensure that it's attached for reporting purposes. Okay. So upon conducting an assessment, the next part would be to do an intervention. So the next part would be to do an intervention. So an intervention you would go to the interventions module. Okay. Within your profile, within your center, you should see all the interventions that are in progress, manager approved, and so on. Right, so to create a new intervention, you click here, create intervention. Okay. And then here, I'm just going to quickly go to the live environment just to show you what has been, if you haven't captured any interventions recently, some of the updates that have been done. So from here, you need to select the intervention. Okay. Unlike the previous financial year, colleagues used to select the CEDA incubation program. This financial year, all of you guys, along with the branches, fall under business development, BDS, business development services. You all fall under there. So by default, from now on going forward, you will select business development services there, no longer incubation. Okay. So that is what is there on the live. If you go on the live, I'll show you. I'll go to the live shortly. So that is what is there. You select BDS, the project category. Okay. You go to the project category. Remember, I highlighted 2 actions when I did my assessment. So one of those 2 actions should be the intervention that I'm implementing now for this particular SMME. I selected market research and training. Okay, so I'm gonna go to marketing, and here I'll select market. Okay, I'll say market planning strategy research. I'll select this one. So if auditors are coming, right, and they look at this intervention, then they look at the assessment that triggered this intervention, they look at the actions from that assessment, they should be talking to that project subcategory. I can't say website when that side I didn't put a website. So that is already a query that the auditors will raise. Okay, the region, okay, it's for local markets or international markets. Okay. Fairly straightforward, you'll say local markets, right? The name of intervention, you simply say, okay, market research. Right. Scroll down, the date of which we created is today. Estimated cost will be pre-populated going forward because we have a funds leverage indicator that we must report on. Okay, you guys don't have to worry. It's there. It's not one of the KPIs you report. They will report strategy that side, but they need this information, okay, for them to be reporting on it. It's them who are tracking this. You guys simply have to capture, and then it's all systems go. But what would be pre-populated would be the estimated cost. Okay, there's a research that was done, internally in the organization by our research colleagues. They've come up with, estimated cost for certain projects. So you don't have to worry yourself. When you see a figure there, do not be alarmed. At branches, they are well aware of it, but for you guys, it's something that might be, pose some questions. So please ignore it. Going forward, particularly because some of your work or most of your work is internal. So when you select the project type there, okay, that's where the that funds leverage will be triggered. But do not focus solely on that going forward. And then, as I've mentioned, if you utilized growth wheel or any other tool to assess, okay, that is not embedded within Ethuse. You can simply upload that assessment report. The signed assessment report, you should simply upload it there. But that report must have marketing research as one of your action items. If it doesn't have it, then you will have to deal with auditors going forward. But if it's an assessment that you did on the platform, you simply click on this drop-down list. Okay, let me select the client first so that you can see that. So I must select the client that I'm doing this intervention for. Then you see when I select the when I go to that drop-down of the assessment, it will give me the assessment. Okay, so once you select the client, it will populate this information there. And then initial assessment, it will bring up the gap analysis that I did. But it should be the gap analysis that the manager approved. If the manager did not approve, it will be blank. It will not appear, right? But if you did it outside the system, like I said, you attach that particular assessment using whatever tools that you guys have at your disposal. So when auditors come, like I said, they will look at, oh, there's a gap analysis. They can go to that gap analysis and check if there's market research as part of your actions. So this will be linked, this gap analysis is linked to an intervention, and those actions will be looked at by the auditors when they are conducting their own audit. Okay, and then again, What's important is the intervention completion report. You guys are aware of it, right? It's important that in most cases when you come here, the work is done, in most cases, right? So when the work is done and you're just capturing the information here, attach the intervention completion report, okay? If you have it completed outside the system, you need to come and attach it here. There's no way you submit this particular intervention to the manager without attaching the intervention completion report. Okay. It must be signed by all parties. You've seen the template, all parties must sign there. If the service provider is an internal person, they must sign as the service provider. There's no queries there. Okay. If it's an external person, they must sign. That external service provider or whoever must sign. Okay. Number one. Number two, the plan completion date. Okay. The plan completion date does not have to be let's say you are creating this particular intervention in May. The plan completion date does not necessarily have to be May. It can be June, can be July, can be August, it can be. That's when you are projecting that by this time, all the work will be completed. Okay. There are projects that take longer. There are, certain activities that you do that take longer. So on intervention, we're giving you the opportunity to say, this project, I'm creating it now, so that it's on record. But the work will be completed by the end of the second quarter. Nothing stops you from doing that. Only when you have completed in the second quarter, that's when it will be reported. Okay, that's when it will reflect in your report. So nothing stops you to avoid a situation where you want to close it and it says the window period has lapsed. Give yourself enough time. You won't be questioned on that. Give yourself enough time. Okay, like for colleagues who don't want to forget, if it's the beginning of the financial year, April, you've assessed, you've identified which intervention will be implemented for your incubatees. Create those interventions here, but you will complete the work by end of July. That's when you can close off on the system. So it means between April and May, there won't be, you won't be closing it or you won't be doing things on that particular record. Only come the end of June or towards the end of June, you close off, the system allows you. Okay. Give yourself enough time. That's what I'm saying. Don't say it's gonna be done and dusted by end of April. Anything can happen. Okay. And there's delays, there's things that the center manager is not available to approve. You give yourself enough time. Okay. Before you submit to them to approve on the system. So just give yourself enough time to avoid a situation where you must recapture. So recapturing is frustrating, So to avoid that, give yourself enough time. So I'm gonna put September as my completion date, but you might find in August I complete the intervention. Nothing, will stop me from closing it off on the system. Okay. Proposed intervention. Okay. What am I proposing? Obviously, it's market research, problem statement. I'll use market research, but obviously you will be, having more information. We'll say market plan. That will be the expected outcomes, the tasks. Okay, what activities will be taking place for us to say this particular project is now completed? What are the activities? You can list them here. Maybe it's analysis, okay. When are you going to start with that analysis? We'll start today. When is going to be completed? Today. Okay. I'm just going to put analysis. Obviously, you will put more the stage at which is at. Okay, you can say it's in progress, meaning the work is currently taking shape. That is the only one. And then from there on, you are in a position where you can simply save this particular intervention. And then you can say it's in progress, meaning work is currently taking place, right? And as you can see, when auditors come, they'll look, okay, this is the intervention, oh, this is the assessment. When they click on the assessment, it will take them to the assessment page where they can validate the information that is, presented here on the intervention phase. So if I go back to the interventions, you see it's in progress. Okay. Remember, my deadline is September, so it's in progress. I'm working with the client, taking them through whatever program. Come the time when it's completed, I come to the system. I'm like, okay, all the work is done. It's time for me to update here. What do I do? Edit. Come to the task. Update the task to say it's completed. Okay. Then from there on, I'm in a position where I can save and say it's completed. You see, once I click it's completed, it says, okay, because I put September as my completion date, what is the actual completion date? Okay, then I can select today. It means it will be reported in this quarter, this particular project. So I can select today and proceed. Okay. See, there's no restriction in terms of, no, you've passed the period and so on. Or you are doing this before the period that you indicated you will be completed by then. There's no glitches there. Because I didn't attach the completion report, the system gives me the ability to do it here, but I cannot submit without completing the completion, right? So I'm asking, if I had attached it, it was going to allow me to submit because I did it manually. I just simply attached it. But if I didn't attach it, the system is still looking for that document. So I must complete it here on the system.
So, okay, now I can focus. So if once I click on submit and it goes on manager review, there is no way that the manager will not be able to approve if I've completed everything and it went through for the manager review.
Yes. Yeah. The only document that will prevent you from even submitting is what? The completion, if it's not there. If you had attached it, it was going to go through. But because I didn't attach it, I wanted to show colleagues this part where you can utilize the form here. That's why I didn't attach it. Okay. So after I've completed the form, it will then say you are in a position where you can submit to the manager. Okay. So if I click on it, okay, it will display this form. It's similar to the manual form. Okay. So the service provider, let's say remember it was internal project, it's William. Okay. Output confirm, yes. Okay. And then the client can draw a signature. The service provider, because it's William, they must also signature. Okay. There we go. You see now the completion report button is, done away with, and at the bottom there you see you can download. Yeah, so when the manager opens that side, they're in a position where they'll download, attach their signature, and reattach the document. Okay, if they were not in the room with you at that point in time. Okay, and then from there the CSS. You can do it for operational reporting, but it's not one of your KPIs anymore. So it's optional. So you're not forced to do a CSS like years gone by. So from there on, you're in a position where you can click submit, and then the workflow will say manager review. Okay. So the manager is in a position where they will get to see this intervention. Obviously, if they didn't sign there and there, they must download the project completion report and sign and reattach. Okay, if they didn't sign already. And then you'll see the improvement assessment. It's there. At branches, each and every intervention has an improvement assessment. But for you guys, it's not the case, right? You might find that you assessed and then you want to do an improvement assessment. You are still permitted. It's not the case. But for branches, it's strict intervention improvement, particularly if it's an individual intervention, not a group. Okay, there is an improvement assessment that is being looked for at branches. That is their processes. For you guys, you don't have to worry about it. But if you want to do an improvement assessment, nothing stops you, right? Nothing stops you at all. You had your hand up.
Lately, I've seen already there's a pop-up message to say it's also feeding the SLA.
Yes. I want to get to that. I want to go to the live for that. I wanted to complete everything here before I go to the live. Any other questions? Okay, let's go to the live before we still have 5 minutes before lunch. Okay, I'm gonna go to the live. Okay, the point that you touched on, it's a very important one. I was getting there. So colleagues, as I said, there's updates that have been factored into the system because of audit queries, and this is not us, it's coming from strategy. So there will be obviously documentation that is shared with everybody so that you have an understanding of what's required in terms of the TIDs, okay? That will be shared with centers and center managers. Please do share with your respective colleagues. So the most recent updates on the interventions. Okay. So on the live environment, let me zoom in a bit. Okay. On the live environment, okay, you see funds leveraged. It's there. Remember I said it will be that predetermined estimated cost, okay, but it's triggered by the project category that you select. You don't have to worry, it's applicable for internal. External, it's not applicable. And then ecosystem partners, if you guys have ecosystem partners that you work with, you can simply put in their names there, but it's not applicable for you guys. What's important, which is what my fellow sister touched on, is the SLA. Okay, the SLA is now, due to audit reasons, the SLA is now being looked at, okay, by auditors. So for centers, if it's work that will be done internally, okay, there is an SLA template that we can share with you guys. You can utilize for internal services. You can utilize that template. But other centers have utilize the contract. The contract that you have obviously will have some of your services, and it indicates that all the activities will be done internally. You can attach that contract. It serves as a form of a SLA. And because you guys do all your work internally, so it will be recognized as such. But if you want the one that is utilized at branches, the template is there. I'm not sure if they updated the logo. We must check. But it can be shared. You can contact your project specialist to share that with you. Unfortunately, I don't have all the colleagues' emails here. We'll go to the center, to the project specialist to share that SLA with you guys. So it's attached. It needs to be attached. Contract, yes. Because remember, it's signed by you guys, the client, and because all the activities will be done by the center. So the center becomes what? The service provider in that regard. Okay. So that can be utilized. But in terms of the TIDs, it will also be clearly indicated in there, on the TID document. Okay. All internal project. And if it's external, if you are going to get William, who's not within the center, to do that, facilitate that project, then there must be an agreement in place to say William is our service provider. He agreed to come and facilitate X, Y, and Z. It should be there. Any contract that you have, any template that you have, it does not have to be a set for one. Okay, because you guys have your own internal processes that you follow. You're not compliant to how we do things as an organization, so you can utilize that. Particularly for external. Internal, you can use the template that we'll share with you guys and also the contract, right? But for external, if you're going to pay and source somebody who's going to be facilitating or doing that work for that particular client, and you'll be paying that individual, that contract, that agreement that you have, it's what should be attached. Do not attach the invoice. Okay. Do not attach a purchase order if you guys have a purchase order, because it's not seen as a contract. They would want a contract that has terms and conditions and so on and so forth. Okay. That is what will be required, when it comes to the SLA. And you cannot continue without attaching. I know we don't have AI capability. Anybody, even me, I can be creative, can attach anything so that the manager approves. But when it comes to audit, they look, they sample. You might be the unfortunate one, who gets called, and you need to explain why, Okay. I know some, because they're still waiting for that document, they attach. For it to go through, later on they'll come and attach the correct one. So if you manage to do that, well, that's something you can, but ensure that the correct one is attached and signed by all parties. I think that is the most important thing. Okay. Right, colleagues, it's 1:30 on the dot. Let's take a lunch break, 45 minutes. And then from there on, we will come back and continue for the business of the day. 45 minutes, colleagues, let's not exceed, because some maybe have to travel far. So let's be mindful of colleagues who need to travel back. We know the roads are not as the same anymore. There's plenty of holes that we must navigate. So we're mindful of that, colleagues. Let's take 45 minutes. We are back. We'll focus on other modules that are important, and then we'll conclude. Thank you. After assessing them, that you pick up that they all need some type of training. It could be basic business skills, it could be startup one course, it could be any training that you identify for them. So instead of doing individual projects, for William, Hilda, Lizzie, one, but we all have a common need, you can group them all together into one, and you run the process, the project, until it's completed. Each and every one of them will have to sign their own, intervention completion report. You attach those, and then from there on, it's reported as a group training or as a training, right, under BDS. So instead of duplicating your efforts, you can capture or create one intervention that will cover all of these individual companies. To do so, you would still go to the interventions module. Once you are here, before you start populating any information, scroll down, you see there's a group there, check it, okay? Before I check it, you'll see here, there's only 5 tabs. Proposed intervention, problem statement, expected outcomes, tasks, and timesheet. The minute I check this group, it then adds the 6th tab, which is group participants. These are the companies or the individuals that will form part of this particular intervention. They all have a common need in terms of your assessment of each and every company or each and every individual. So they all need training, okay, on Ethuse, for example. So you don't have to do one training for Hilda, one training. You want to group them all together. This is the process that you follow. And then you can start by adding those participants, meaning those people that will be part of that training. And when you report under BDS, now number of people trained, okay, those individuals will appear, 3 of them, 4 of them, 5 of them, as many as you have added here. But the project number will be one project number. The SLA, okay, if you're utilizing somebody internally, you can have that template SLA that I was referring to. The template that will share, you can have the whoever to sign, and they sign also on that SLA. Unlike attaching all the individual contracts, you can use that SLA, and then from there, it will be counted as one training. But how many people were trained? 10. What do we count as an organization? 10. Not the singular training. We count the individuals who form part of that training. So this is how you can go about, capturing that sort of a group training. Or if it's a mentorship program that you are running, okay, they have one mentor, all of them. You are running that mentorship program. You can also utilize this. You group them all together, one mentor. Obviously, that mentor will focus on each and every individual, but you just want it to be one project. You can utilize this group process. Okay, if they're sharing a mentor and you don't want to separate and capture individual projects, you can use this function. But if you want to do it individually, you still are permitted to do so.
Or even existing.
Even existing ones, even the ones that are still within your database, you can use this. Yeah, as long as there's a contract, whether it's a contract that is still running, okay, active contracts.
So for each training that we did, and we have to count them.
Yeah.
We can count them.
Yeah, you can capture it here. Okay. And then under BDS, they will be counted, those individuals. Number of people trained by the university, 100. You find from that 100, it's 5 interventions. It means each intervention had more or less on average 20 people. Okay, so but we count the number of people that will form part of that. So to add them, you click on group participants, and then you search for the individuals or the clients that are registered within your center. Okay. See the one that I registered earlier on, it appears here. There we go. I'm happy. Can go to the next one if there's an additional one. Okay. Okay. Assumption is that all of these people are, into clothing, and you want to train them on, whatever that needs to be, whatever special skill that they need to apply in their product. All of them, need that skill. This is the approach you can take, because there's one facilitator who will be taking them through. You don't have to individually capture those particular projects. And then from there, you can go back and start with, and obviously, like I said, this will be BDS, Business Development Services. And then here we're saying it's a group training. And then we're saying it's a training that looks at capacity building, When is this going to be completed? Like I said, you can put a future date, nothing stops you from doing. So the type, is it internal, external? Is internal, okay? Previous assessments, you can group them all together into one file and then attach it as a single file, okay? For those that were done outside the system. But if they were done in the system, it will be something that the system will do its work in the background, so you don't have to worry because it's a group. Then once you are done, here you are in a position where you can put in your proposed intervention. Problem statement. Expected outcomes. Okay, the tasks, these are some of the activities that will be taking place throughout this training, okay? Maybe they will be trained on how to design. Okay, when it's gonna take place today, it's gonna end tomorrow, it's new. And the second one will be prototype. Tomorrow, it's gonna end tomorrow. So these are the tasks, and once you've done all of that, you can simply save. Okay, then if the training has started, you can simply say it's in progress. Then you wait until it's concluded. All the completion reports are signed and all that. Then you come and attach them here, right? Or one completion, they all sign, you attach it here, because you will have the list of attendees as part of your clients there at the top. Remember on that completion report, if you utilize in the system, it will populate the client there at the top. If it's 5 of them, they will appear there. And you ask them, all of them, to sign. If you did it manually, then you fill in their names there at the top and then attach the register, to show that these are the people that attended and they all must sign, the completion report. To show these are the people that attended, but they must all sign as well. Yeah, in the completion. Okay. So this is how you would capture any group. It's similar to an individual project. The difference is you checking that group checkbox and then adding the participants, people who form part of that particular group training, okay, or group project. It's not limited to group training only, group project, like the mentorship example that I just gave. So this is how you navigate through through that. So let me log in as the center manager and approve from there. Yes, ma'am.
If I may ask, does it, because I hear you saying group project, would that also apply into trade exhibitions and pop-ups?
Yeah. Yes.
So you still do it as a group?
It's a group. Remember, they all go in there. Yes. Instead of doing one, you combine into one. But what will be reported is the number of people, not the one intervention. Yeah. Pop-ups, trace exhibition, it's not only for training, it's meant for training and group intervention. That one we classify it as a group intervention, not a training. Yeah. All right. So let's go to the center manager now. So the center manager, their role is fairly simple, They just have to log in, view the dashboard, and approve the records that requires their immediate attention. So I'm gonna go to interventions. And I'm gonna focus on today. Okay, you'll see the one that I did, now the group project intervention that I didn't submit it to the manager. So it's still in progress. So the manager can have a view of it and then can say, hey, when are you closing this off, if they see the deadline is fast approaching. But other than that, they'll focus on the review, open up that project, okay, download, remember they didn't sign the completion, download the completion, sign, and then attach it again here, okay. But I'm not gonna do that, I'm just gonna focus on the approval. Once it's approved, and then this can be reported, okay. This will be reported under BDS, right. But if the manager, like I said, notice that there's a signature missing, the client did not sign. So there's a signature missing in that particular completion report. They can query it. I showed you the assessment. It's the same process. Once they query it, it goes back to the BDO or to the admin to correct what is required of them to correct. So other than that, this is what the manager would do, and then they can go back to their dashboard and wait for other transactions that requires them to approve. Okay, then let's go back to the admin. So we've touched on client management, okay? I did indicate what's the means of verification that is required for client management, We've touched on an assessment, not an improvement assessment, but an assessment. And I highlighted what means of verification is also, required at that stage. So now we're gonna get into the improvement assessment, okay? Remember, the improvement assessment is after you've supported. It doesn't have to be an intervention. It could be an assessment that you did, okay? You can do an improvement assessment because that assessment is some form of intervention, some form of advisory or support that you have given them, okay? So this client of ours, we've assessed them, we did an intervention. It's time for Q1 for us to report and measure if there's an impact in the activities that we did for this particular client. So we go, we conduct the assessment, now we have to capture it. To capture that assessment, click on assessment, and then we'll go to the post assessment. There, click on the bottom left corner there, and then here, like I said, do not assign. Improvement assessment, you would rather, it's best and I advise that you do it yourself. Do not assign. They must sit with you, or you must go visit the premises and then collect that information and come back and capture it here. Okay, so default is take. And then you click on start assessment. Okay. Complete all the questions? No? Okay. The manual template is similar to this. Okay. If you guys have the manual template, similar to this. Obviously it will be SEFTA, not CEDA. Start, assist you with trading. Okay. And then we get into the T1 versus T2. Okay. T2 is information that you collected when you were assessing. It could be the same information that you got when you were onboarding. Remember, there was no change, so it could be the same information. So it will be the turnover. Then, when you assess them, or when you before any support was, initiated, what was the turnover? Meaning during the time you were conducting the assessment, what was their turnover? And then obviously that information must come from where? Management account, okay? Statement of accounts. That is where you're gonna get that information. So that is T1, okay? Previous information, not current. What was the turnover? Remember when I registered this particular person, I put in 10,000 as their turnover. So that is what you put in as well, okay? And then the most recent statement of accounts, what is the turnover? Okay. Or let's say it's 5,000. So from there on, the system now starts its own calculation based on the information that you are feeding. The turnover has decreased. Reasons for that, okay. Okay, the money is at 30% set aside from government opportunities? No. Okay. E1 and E2. Okay, your expenses at E1 are your expenses when we first started engaging with you, when we assessed you. What were your expenses vis-a-vis your current expenses? Okay. Your expenses then maybe were your current expenses are now sitting at 7.5, and then we see your expenses have gone up. Okay, and then the reason for that could be again and then your net profit, and all that is now calculated based on that information. Then it will say your profit has decreased based on that information, the financial information that you've captured. Then we come to EMP1 versus EMP2. Okay, EMP2 is the employment. Remember the baseline that I was speaking about when we did the registration. The EMP2 will be that baseline information. Okay, the contracts that you have. If it's 2 contracts that you have, it means that you have 2 employees. Okay, if it's 3, it means you have 3 employees. At that point in time, that is the information that or the figure that you provide. Okay, I put 2 when we did registration. Oh, 2. And now, what is my number of employees currently, as is today? What is the total number of employees that I have and the contracts that I have? 3. Okay, meaning I've added a new employee. Since that during that period when you assess me, you did intervention, I then got somebody new to join the business. So it's 3 number of employees. And then you see now it will say increase there by 1. So these figures, the 2 will be reported under sustained. The 1 will be reported under increased. Okay, because since then to now I've employed an additional staff member. So this particular improvement assessment will then reflect on 2 KPIs. Okay, sustained and increased or created. But on the turnover, this IA won't reflect because of what? My turnover has what? Decreased. But if my turnover had increased by more than 5%, meaning this IA was going to be reported on 3 KPIs. Turnover increased by 5%, jobs sustained, and jobs created. Okay. So the capturing here has huge implications on, the reporting side when it comes to your KPIs, particularly those 3 KPIs. Again, for it to be deemed as a true reflection, statement of accounts must be there, okay, or management accounts must be there, and the signed contracts. So you can have all these figures populated there, but if you don't have those means of verification signed and dated, your efforts won't be counted for. So ensure that when you are collecting this information, the means of verification are also there and they are signed and dated. Okay, so that your project specialist, if it's Rulan will be able to see, and report with confidence on those particular KPIs. So the IA has more weight in terms of your KPIs. It carries over 50%, of the KPIs that you have, colleagues. So ensure that when it comes to the improvement assessment, the means of verification that I'm referring to are there, signed, and you put in the right figures here. Okay, so that is very important going forward. And then funding, no. Okay, but for those that you assisted with funding, this is where you say yes. Maybe you, assisted them with applying for a certain program that they got, funding for. Then this is where you can put all of that. Okay. Then you click on submit. Oh, I forgot something. Which question is it? Okay, everything is there. No. Okay, let me see. Wants me to start all over. Okay, so once you have completed everything and you click on submit, it will say thank you. And like I did in the previous, in the previous session, the morning session, I had to come and refresh here. And then once I refresh, my total number would be 8. There we go, 8. Then it means I must just go and complete what it's left for me to complete. Click there. There's my improvement assessment. I'm gonna click on it. At this stage, again, you still have the ability to correct or change your answers, before you submit. If you don't see the need to change anything, all is in order, you come here to the recommendations. Let me edit. And then here you will put in your recommendations, based on your assessment, the impact assessment. You then have some form of recommendation. Remember, their turnover has since decreased, so you might have some, additional recommendations that needs to be, put into place. Say, maybe they need mentorship. Okay, mentorship and coaching. Okay, here you don't have to put in your actions because this won't be looked at, to that certain extent. So what you will have to do now is to come here and attach, those documents that I referred to earlier on. Okay, remember initially we had 2 contracts. It means here you will attach 3 because you said you have employed an additional employee. So that is the means of verification that, the project specialist will review and the manager as well. So, okay, these are the 3 contracts, and then I'm gonna attach, the last one, which is, statement of accounts. So there's 4, okay? There's 4 documents that support everything that I've done. And then once you're done, you can simply assign it to your client that you conducted this improvement assessment on. And then proceed. All the information that relates to this individual will be there now. And then from there on, it's just a matter of saying, okay, all is done and dusted, all is well. My means of verifications are there. I've captured, I've reviewed, the questions. And what you can do is maybe select the intervention. Okay, which intervention is this emanating from? If you want to do that, okay, you can select that intervention. Then this assessment will be linked to that intervention. So you can do so, but here it's optional. Even if it's a training that they went through, you can link the training to this particular improvement assessment. Okay, so once you've done that, you can simply say it's completed. Today is the date that I'm happy with, and then I say proceed. Then you see, let me save it. The workflow now goes to the manager. Just like an assessment, the manager can review, and if they're not happy, they then reject or approve. Later on, they realize they didn't, verify all the details. They can query it for you to be able to amend. But querying the back and forth for assessment should be done before, the end of the month, so that it's counted for in your report. If it's done late, you might find the manager miss the opportunity, to have enough time to be able to review and correct and do so. So everything must be done well in time, colleagues, so that you avoid, your information not being reported, and then you must recapture, in Q2. Your performance for Q1 is low, then it puts added pressure for you to report in Q2. So this is something that, when you capture ensure that you're on your manager's case to ensure that work is approved and checked in time. So this is how you would go about completing an improvement assessment. Okay. What's key here? It's those documents and the figures. That is the key. Okay, that is what will ensure that you guys are paid your trenches in time and all that. So I think it's important, colleagues, that the means of verification is there and you do capture your work, in time. Okay, that is the most important thing. And everybody in the room, avoid particularly end of semester 1. Okay, I'm sure you guys experience the system being slow towards the end of March. Okay. I'm advising you, we obviously from our side will improve in terms of the processing speed of our servers and database, will improve that. But what we are guarding against is, people being on the N1, all of them to Polokwane, on the last day. Anything can happen on the road, you see. No, we can increase the capacity, but still people will flock at the 11th hour. I know it's the nature of us, but my advice, avoid doing things the last week of September. End of quarter 1, it's fine. Everything will be fine. That much I can guarantee, because at branch level, even with them, they're just getting into the swing of things. But when it hits September, it spikes. We know it's a culture, it's a norm. Everything goes up. I could be quiet, for the first 3 months, 4 months. Month 5, I'm the best performer, So avoid the last week of September. You'd rather be doing M&E but in terms of approvals and what, I'm advising and encouraging that colleagues, give yourself that week to be doing M&E and obviously submission of reports. But transacting, you will experience delays. From our side, we will increase the servers, but if there's more centers that are opened, there's more access points, you see the population is growing. Even though you increase, the population is still growing. So avoid last week of March, by all means avoid. Last week of September, by all means avoid. Okay. And I like taking leave during that time. Yeah, because I know people have to learn the hard way. So I won't leave, system are crashing, I don't care. I'll come back the following week and continue with my business. But on a lighter note, colleagues, the last week of September, if I check it now, see from, let's say from the 24th until the 29th, avoid that time. For capturing, you'd rather be on the manager's case to approve, that's fine. But for capturing, there's high volumes, that will be coming through. Avoid, the week of the 23rd next year, March, avoid that as well. Because everybody's looking after their, own performance, whether it's at center level or branch level. We are all utilizing the same road to get to Polokwane. There's no R101. We are on the N1. There's no alternative. So if there's no alternative, there will be high, volumes. So avoid those periods, colleagues. Just on a lighter note. Okay. So, event module. This is, I know it doesn't form part of your reporting, at that level, but it's one of the modules that you can utilize if you're having workshops, okay, and you want to document that particular workshop, not to have it on paper, but you just want to have it on the system. and it shows work done by you as the BDO or as the admin. And you can submit this to the manager, and then the manager has no ways but to approve because it's work done. If you're working with, it's Youth Month, you've organized a speaker that will share information about business opportunities for young people. You've organized that workshop, for them in this wall or in this center. You can utilize the events module. It's utilized to record all the events that might be taking place within, your center or a branch. So it's one of the modules that you can utilize going forward for your own admin purposes. So to create an event, fairly straightforward, click on create, okay? There you put in the event name. Let's say you are having a youth month campaign as a center, and then the time when it's taking place, you can create it now. Yes, sir.
Is it only limited to events we run, or any events that we might take our SMBs to that we also we did not organize that we feel they might take?
It's not limited to organized events. Let's say as a center you are invited by the municipality. So on this day we are having this workshop, and you have a couple of your incubatees that might benefit, by attending that workshop. So for your own reporting here, you would like to capture it and formalize it so that it's noticed as work done by the center, by you as the BDO. So you can create the event here and say, okay, on this day there's this event we're invited to, which is taking place next week, or taking place on the 16th. Let's use the 16th. It's taking place on the 16th. They've invited you. They say bring young people within your center. There's business opportunities that will be shared with them on that day. You can simply come here and say, okay, there's an event on the 16th of June, and it's ending on the 16th as well. Starting at 10, it will end, let's say, at 3:30. Apply, okay? And then you'll say it's focused on youth focus promotion, right? And then once you've done, then the venues where that event will be taking place, okay, let's say University of Limpopo. And from there on, you're gonna save it, okay? And you're gonna book it. It's there. It has not taken place yet. Let's say you've captured it so that even your calendar or your itinerary, the manager is able to see, oh, there's an event that you're attending, you booked it, okay, fine. Come the day of the event or days leading to the event, you mobilize your incubatees. You're like, okay, colleagues, you guys will be going to this event. Ensure that you are there, okay. On the day of the event, maybe they see you there, you see them or they're all present, they're sitting with you. Then you create your own attendance register at the event. So you're gonna link those individuals to this particular event so that when you submit for approval, the manager can see, oh, we did go to this event, and these people, you are confirming that these incubatees were there, at that event. So this is where you would do this on the day of the event, or maybe days prior to the event. You add the attendees, people that you'll be going with. You might be going with the entire incubatees. Maybe there's a selected group that you are taking to that particular event. So you add them as your attendees by clicking here, and then you create your own attendance register, okay? Then if they're existing within your center, you mainly search for them. There we go, okay? And then you save. You're not confirming because the event has not taken place or the event has not concluded, okay? And then you go back, you add second, third, fourth, so on. Okay. I'm just gonna add 2. Okay. See, all the information is pre-populated for you. And you save. Okay. Then you go to the list. So there's 2 of them. And then, because young people are young people, people are people. On the day, one of the 2 comes along with a friend. And the friend is doing business elsewhere, but because the friend is in the center, they would like to be part of the center going forward. And you also want them to fall within your attendees because they might be coming to your center soon. You can add them even though they're not yet registered. How do you do that? The same way that you are adding, people that exist. You create. Here, you're gonna clear where it says attendee name, and you type in that particular individual's name, their email, okay, they have to give you their ID. Okay. Okay. So if the ID does not exist, I should be in a position where I saved them. Okay, there we go. So meaning they don't exist anywhere, within this particular event that I'm creating. Then from there, if I go back, you see my attendees will be 3. Okay. Then come the day of the event, they are all present. They are there. They sit until the event is concluded. Then from you is the matter of coming here and say, oh, I'm confirming that they form part of the event from the beginning until the end. They 90% of the time they were there. Okay, in that event, you are confirming all of that. You go back to your event there, and then you can say it's in progress. It has ended. Okay, and then you're submitting this to the manager. So the manager will see the event and they can approve the event. This is what you can utilize this particular module for. At branches, because they have an indicator that they report on this, utilizing this particular module. It goes, it's very important for them to capture all the events. Okay, they have an indicator that speaks to a number of clients who, attended entrepreneurship awareness session / promotions. So they report on that at branch level, utilizing this particular, module. And there's no signature that is required in terms of the attendance register. The people that you put on the system and you confirming that they attended, that is recognized. Okay, there's no audit queries that will be coming your way to say, where's the register? It must have the letterhead and there's no such. Okay. That is how you can go about ensuring that you capture each and every event that takes place within your respective centers. Yes, ma'am.
I'm busy doing this. So I need to catch up with today's event now, right? So now we have limit registrations, we have auto confirmations. What are those?
Okay, those if you go on the training videos, the training videos go in depth. Those you can use if you want people to RSVP. Let's say you have a number of seats. Okay, you have 20 seats and you have maybe a database of 50 incubatees, and you've organized a session with so and so to come and present. So because you have them on the database already, your database, you can create an event and you RSVP, you select those. It will send an email to all the attendees that you've listed. The ones that RSVP, you have number of seats. If it reaches 20 and there's others that way in the pipeline of doing that RSVP, it will say seats have been allocated. Yeah, so that one works when you are running that kind of a, you are organizing that kind of event. But if you go into training videos, it will show you how to do so.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Does the videos also outline in a case where we have a physical register, then we have to upload it?
No. Because there's no uploading here. Uploading is optional here. It's not mandatory. The reason why it's optional is because the entrepreneurship awareness event, auditors are not looking for signatures because it could be a hall that is full of 100 people, So they look at the number of people that you said attended. They will call them and ask, did you attend on this day? When they're doing their verification. Oh, yeah. So if you have a register, you can attach it. Let me go to this one. You can attach it. To review. There we go. You can come and attach it here. On this money clip here. You can attach it if you have it, Maybe operationally in the center they want that. You can attach it there. Yeah. Okay. RSVP is for catering processes, and it's also for if you have a number of the venues too small and you want to control, attendees, you can utilize those functions. Okay. And as you can see, where is it? Okay, there's somewhere where you would get a message, as one of the attendees, you get an email notification to say you did attend, sort of like a certificate, that is sent via email. So if they're not happy, they can query that. Right. And again, you can schedule reminders. Okay, as you can see there, you can schedule reminders, come 2 days before, remind people, especially if you've organized it in that manner where people are RSVP'd and so on. You can set reminders to say, please remember on this day, this time, this event is taking place. Okay, but the training videos really give you more in depth in terms of how you can play around with that communication part, which is the RSVP. And if we could, we would say you can publish some of these events on our website, but we're not there yet. There's a team that deals with events there at National Office, so we tried, but we were told no. This thing is centralized, it's managed, it's controlled. If it was free for all, you could publish this on our website, and anybody who's within the area and even outside would be in a position where they can view certain events that are taking place. Right. Any questions on the events? For operational activities, you can utilize these colleagues. Nothing stops you from doing so. Okay. All right. Let me log in as the manager and approve the improvement assessment before we get into the last part of today, which is reporting. So improvement assessments will be approved under assessments. Okay. As you can see, there's one that has been submitted, and I'm in a position where I can view the improvement assessment and validate, all the information that needs to be validated. Okay, do we have attachments? Yes, we do have. I'm happy with them. Recommendations? Okay, I'm happy with it. Then as the center manager can simply approve. Okay, like I said, once they approve, this information will then pre-populate under those 2 KPIs for jobs sustained and jobs created. Okay, if turnover had increased, this particular IA was going to flag under that particular KPI as well. Okay, so the improvement assessment, I know colleagues, you've struggled before, but I think going forward, you guys will be in the clear and you will know what's expected of you as centers and as people who are in the ground, level and ensuring that information gets through to the manager. So please take note of the means of verification going forward. Okay. So on the reporting side, I'm going to go to our live environment. The test does not have data. Okay, so with managers, I did indicate that the module that you utilize for reporting that is under your respective profile would be performance. Okay, it won't be national performance like I have before you. So yours will be performance. When you click on it, remember your KPI letters have been issued. It means we must ensure that the 4 KPIs that were there before remain there. And it's an issue, it's just a matter of adding the new one, which is graduation. Okay. And then we'll communicate how you're going to capture and report on the graduation one. Okay. But the 4 that you guys are well aware of as center managers, you'll find them under your respective profiles. Okay.
Another question.
Yes.
I see you mentioned before an addition, but here it's written separate.
They will be configured. They will be some of them will be removed. Okay. Yeah. I know is BDS still there? Business development is still there, and CSS is still there.
Now saying jobs created, pre-investment, post-investment.
Oh yeah, yes. I didn't want to get into that one, but anyway, let me explain the post. Let's leave the pre. The pre is what you are accustomed to.
Yeah.
Let me explain the post. The post, the reason why it's there is because quality intervention and productivity interventions that might be done at the centers fall under post. Once you do those 2 interventions, it means you must do an IA for them. That's why you have the post jobs and the post jobs created and the post jobs sustained. Yes, that's the reason why you are seeing the post. But not all of you guys will have in your letters. Remember, your letters dictate what you are measured on. not all centers will have post under them. But as a standard for incubation, 7 will appear, but you might find when you only focus on what? 5. The other 2, you don't focus on them. Okay, because in your letters you are not assigned post, you know. Yeah. Yes, sir.
It's sort of take you a little bit back on the event. I was registering the event last month, end of the last month. And then one of the events that I was registered and sent to the manager's review went back to you, and then you disagreed that if it doesn't have any manager submission or anything, just say edit, and when I edit and say just goes back to nothing. I don't know. Is there any in there?
Okay, I know. Please roll your call so that we assist you. Yeah. Okay. So let's park the post, colleagues. I don't want to talk about things that are not, you know, clear even for myself. Let me focus on what I know. Okay. What I know is that there's 5 KPIs. Incubation program, jobs sustained, jobs increased, okay, turnover, and graduation. I'm going to focus on those ones. So, in your respective dashboards as center managers, under performance, focus on the 5. Okay, the other one will be added. The graduation is not there, it will be added, so you have 8, but you ignore the other 3. Okay, so when you log in and you go to your monthly, okay, let's focus on May, right? You want to report, nothing stops you from reporting each and every month, colleagues. Okay, nothing stops you. Overall, the reports that you are submitting each and every month, they add up to your quarterly. So when you complete your June report, then you are in a position, the system will auto aggregate everything and becomes your quarterly. Okay, unlike you doing everything, you know, by June. All these months you've been collecting information, and June you are capturing. I know it works for you guys, that's how you operate, but I would encourage that if there's an assessment intervention, if there's an improvement assessment that is done now in May, in the months that have passed, capture it, report it then. It will add up to your total for the quarter. Okay, nothing stops you from doing your monthly mandatory reports. Okay, so let's say you're doing a monthly report for your center. Okay, there's a whole list of them. Please bear with me. There's 19 that we have as an organization, 18 or 20 by the new one that will be added. So there's 20 indicators. For you guys, it's KPIs. Ne? For us, it's indicators. See, CEDFA has 20. That relates to non-financial support. Okay, so there's 20 overall. Amongst the 20, both incubation centers and branches are there's where they share, right? But there's the one for incubation program is only unique for you guys. The jobs, it's across the board. So I'm going to focus on the incubation program. Here we go. There it is. So, okay, your list will be much more shorter than this one. So you go to that, if there's information in that indicator, okay, you will see by this column, which is target achieved. The target achieved will list, you know, the number of will list the number of records that are there under that particular KPI for you guys. So here, you know, for me, we have what, 150 Okay. So to open and view that information, for you as a manager to do your own verification, click on the pencil, okay? And then this is what would be displayed before you, and you'll see here, this information comes from what? The interventions that were done under those clients. Remember, those clients are clients that have contracts. Okay. If they don't have a contract, they will form part of that 150. Okay. It's clients that have contracts. Okay. And you've supported them, assisted them with whatever intervention that might be. So if I click on the interventions, okay, you'll see there's group training that was done and other projects that were done by various centers. But for you, respective center will be all the people that have captured their information will appear here. You know, it might be the list might be shorter than this. Okay. So what you do, but my thinking is that you don't have to do anything more than report because you've done your M&E. When you approve that intervention, you checked is the completion report already the system has done a check for you by checking is the contract in place. So the system has done the first part. The second part was left to you to check if there is a completion report, you know, attached. If there is a completion report, then you'll find that information here. Okay. That is what you have to do. If you are happy with everything, you go back. Okay, and then from there you can now click on reporting, I beg your pardon. The minute you click on reporting, okay, this is the live, it might block me, but yeah, that's why. But if you click on reporting, then it gives you that option to state your reasons for achievement or non-achievement, and then you submit. The minute you click on submit, it goes to Rulani, if Rulani is your project specialist. It goes to, I'm not sure who else is, if it's Rabi or Lulama, you know, if it's them that are your project specialist, that report, that KPI will reflect under their center performance because they see all the centers, okay, within that are assigned to them. Okay, they don't, only Sandile will see the centers that are assigned to project specialists that report to him. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, but if you don't click reporting and you don't click submit, you can cry all you like. You didn't perform, or you didn't report. Okay. So, BDOs, if center managers are not doing their jobs, you know that they are not pressing which buttons. So, encourage them. If you have to sit with them, buy them lunch, so that your trenches come through and there's payment. Please bribe them so that they submit their reports.
Now, I wanted to ask the secretary services, right? As far as the ID number is compulsory. In terms of people of lunch are not coming. So what do we do in that case because it's compulsory?
On the event.
On the event.
Then you don't capture them.
Then we just go.
Yeah, you don't capture them. But you can simply say, copy it there if they don't want you to see it safe. Yeah. But I think one thing that you should make obvious is that copia. Just show them before you even. Okay. Now we don't force people, but if you want support, unfortunately this is the route. Okay. No, if you go to Home Affairs, they want your ID. They don't care about Poppy. You want their help, you enter your ID. If you don't want their help, then you tough. You know, at a bank, if you don't produce your driver's license or your ID, they won't help you. Even if you say, hey, Poppy, they'll say, fine. But unfortunately, we can't help you because that's how they operate, right? So, managers, this is how you would do your report. And once you would have a target, right, of 7, yeah, or 8. When you report on a KPI, it will say out of 7, your target was 7, target 7, achieved 2, not achieved 4. Okay, for that month. Next month it changes altogether. It will still say 7. How many are you reporting? Okay, even if you report on a single KPI, it's fine because others don't have anything. You are not going to be penalized for reporting only clients that are assisted through the incubation program. You're not going to be penalized, right? If you report on the jobs in this quarter and there's no people that are reported under the incubation program, there's no penalties that you, but what's important is that you meet your year-to-date target. Okay, colleagues, as an organization, as I'm reaching, the end of my session, we are measured on year-to-date. Although there's monthly reporting, quarterly reporting, when auditors come, they audit our year-to-date. Okay, meaning from the 1st of April until the end of March, you said you're gonna incubate or assist 1,000 incubatees, meaning 1,000 contracts. They look at that. They don't care when you report it, they look at that. Okay. In most cases, our targets quarterly, some we do achieve, some we don't achieve. Even monthly, some at branches, as you saw, they achieve, some they don't achieve. But they're not going to be held ransom. What is important is your end year target. If they said 10 and you have 11, good. That's what we look at. What happens in between, we know there's good months, there's bad months. Okay. There's good quarters and there's bad quarters, so that is what is being looked at, the overall, performance at the end of the year. And then from there, that's when they sample and they do all of that. So this is information that you should take note of. Okay, report as and when, but do not be hard on yourself if, you are not performing at that level. But I know you guys have quarterly, you must achieve them. So it means your monthly can be quiet, but your overall quarterly must look good. You guys have, special contracts that govern all of that. Okay. So, and again, for centers, we will liaise with, obviously, the project specialist in terms of your operational reports. Okay. There might be reports that you guys have that you must give them on a monthly that are not in relation to your KPIs. There might be. So if it's information that is in the system, we can build those reports for you guys. For example, this is for branches. Okay, CSS are no longer at the strategic level. They've relegated to an operational level. So it means all the branches, when there's an intervention, there has to be a CSS. But because that function is there, we are able to capture that information and make it available. Number of people who are supported, with in the textile and clothing, these are TREP clients. That information is there because when we register you, you say you are in a rural area and you are in clothing and textile. So we are able to collect that information. Okay. So if you guys have operational reports on information that you are capturing here, please share with your project specialist. We'll consolidate nationally and build operational reports for you guys that you can report on, on a monthly basis. But they won't influence your overall KPIs. These are operational. You're not measured on that at that level. So we can build those reports for you. Or if you want to utilize the ones that are there, we can make them accessible for you guys. Okay. So that is one thing that I wanted to highlight to you guys. If you do have operational reports, please do flag them with the project specialist for us to have sight of.
Currently, the system does show the indicators, but not the targets. Do you know when those targets will be installed on the system?
When we receive them.
Isn't now you've received the letter?
You have received your letters, right? The assumption is that you've received your letters. On the letters, it has your targets. So it's once we get them, then we punch in the targets. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Even I'm glad that Liz is here. She knows the frustrations that they have to go through for you guys to get your letters. Things are not, prioritized because you guys it's the beginning of the financial year. You still don't have your letters. You don't know your targets, so it puts you in that position where it affects obviously your overall Q1. So I'm mindful that Q1 might not be, the numbers that we are expecting as in terms of paper. We're mindful of that. Okay. Even some branches are yet to give us their monthly targets and quarterly targets, but they've been working. So it's something that the organization is mindful of, and we've made it clear to strategy to say you are disadvantaging, colleagues in terms of such. So we'll load them as and when we get them, colleagues. Okay. Yeah. There's information that we wait for it. We wait. If it comes late, it comes late, but we wait for that information to come through. Okay. I know it's frustrating for you guys, but even us, you guys, when you come and give us the stick, it's not nice. But I understand that you don't have those targets loaded here, but we'll get to that. Managers, please go through the reporting videos there. What I just highlighted was just one KPI, fairly straightforward. Check your means of verification as and when colleagues submit, then it shouldn't be a hassle for you to conduct, or to submit your mandatory reports. Do it in time, approve in time. Don't wait for the 11th hour because you get that message. I'm not sure if there's any questions. I know colleagues, some have to drive, want to release them. If there's questions from the floor, the videos are there. You can contact Hilda for additional staff members that might be joining. For those that don't have access, please ensure that you submit. We sort you out, quickly. But what will ensure comes your way is the TIDs, the reporting guidelines, so that you guys are aware of how, as an organization, we are reporting and what is expected from us, particularly for all the stakeholders that contribute to our performance, and they have to provide information or capture information onto the Ethuse system. Okay. Any new changes when that new indicator is loaded and it's accessible, how you go about capturing will ensure that it's communicated. Okay, from us to project specialist, we'll skip the managers. From us to project specialist, we'll CC the managers along the way, but we'll ensure that project specialists are the ones that receive this update so that they can share with all their centers. Okay. So that is it from my side, colleagues. Thank you for your time. Those who are traveling, do travel safely. Until we meet again, colleagues, keep well. And managers approved, videos, capture, submit.